Hi guys, how's it going? Just want to give you some really quick tips today on playing different open chord shapes on the guitar. Rather than always playing the textbook kind of chord shapes, there's a lot of other kind of open chord shapes that you can play that actually sound a lot more interesting and a lot nicer on the acoustic guitar. So let me give you a couple of examples. I'm going to show you what I would do in the key of G and in the key of E, what kind of chord shapes I use all the time in those keys. So let's start off in the key of G. Now the textbook, the guitar book, will show you this G. Okay, 1, 2, open, and your ring finger on the top there. And there's nothing wrong, sometimes I play that G. G, C, okay, that C shape there. And then this D. Okay? So that's what I've written in most books, but most of the time this is what I play. G, C, C add 9, D, C add 9, and G. So instead of always playing this 3-finger G shape, what I do is I put the top two, the pinky and the ring finger, on the first and second string down the bottom, and you get a little bit of a fuller sounding chord like that. And then for the C, instead of going always, sometimes I do, but most of the time, instead of going to this C, I just drop these 2 fingers down and you get a C add 9 or a C2. So what you're doing is keeping these 2 fingers on the top strings and just dropping these 2 down to here. And then you can grab the D chord easy, leave your ring finger on, and then back to the C add 9, leave your ring finger on, and then back to the G, you leave these top 2 fingers on. And it's a lot easier to play, and I think it sounds nicer. So G, C add 9, D, C add 9, and G. And then the other chord that is often in the key of G is E minor, which again the chord books will show you this one, which is fine, you can play that too. The 5th string and the 4th string, 2nd fret here, and the rest open. But again, I like this shape. Those same top 2 fingers on the top 2 strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually E minor 7, but it works really well in the key of G. And so what ends up happening is if you've got a G, you've got these top 2 fingers on. C add 9, you get those 2 on. E minor, keep those 2 on. Nice flowing kind of sound because you have those common notes at the top ringing out all the time, and it sounds really smooth. It's a lot easier to transition between those chords as well. Okay, so that's what I do in the key of G. There's some tips in the key of G. Let's go to the key of E. Now in the key of E we normally have E, A, B, that bar chord B, and C sharp minor. Okay, that's what you'd read in the book. E, A, B, where you bar that and you those 3 strings, and you bar for the C sharp minor as well. Okay, and again, there's nothing wrong with playing that, but it's a little bit tricky to grab, and also you're breaking up the rhythm every time you change chords. So this is what I pretty much always do in the key of E. You can start with that E chord, and then instead of playing a full A chord, take take your ring finger off, and it's an A2 or an A add 9. And then instead of playing it with these fingers, I use these two. So your E chord right there, and then take your index finger off and drop these two fingers down the next strings. Okay, and then back to the E. Because it doesn't affect the notes, because it's behind this note, so it's not going to affect it. So if you're changing between E and A2, you can just leave that index finger on. Okay, and I think that sounds really sweet, and these top two strings are ringing open all the time, so you have that consistency in the tone. Okay, and then B, instead of playing this full B bar chord, just play these top, the 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 1, 2, 3, and then leave these top two open like this. You have to just change your fingers around a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, and these two just ringing open. Okay, so you've got to arch your hand over a little bit to get that. Okay, so I'm muting. I'm not playing the E string, I'm just playing 1, 2, 3, open. Okay, that's a B. It's actually a B suspended, but it works fine as a B. And then for the C sharp minor, slide that exact shape up 2 frets up to here, and do the same thing, open. So instead of barring that whole thing, just drop your wrist, take that finger off, and okay, so B and C sharp minor. Back to the A2 and the E. So you can play E. You can also use these fingers for the A2. Okay, and then slide that shape up without taking your fingers off. Slide it up 2 frets and put your index finger here. And then slide that shape up 2 frets for the C sharp minor. Down to the B, keep them on and slide it down to the A and to the E. Okay, and what you can also do, instead of playing this E, you can also play it up here. So exactly the same shape that we use for the B and the C sharp minor, slide that up so that your index finger is up here, same shape, index finger on the 7th fret, open, open, and you can play, this is an E note, so you can play the whole thing open like that. C sharp minor, slide that shape down, slide it down to the B, slide it down to the A. Okay, so that sounds, to me, that sounds a lot sweeter than going through all of the bar chords. And just a couple more things you can do with that. If you play this E up here, there is a B bar chord right here. Okay, right up on the 7th fret, you bar it across. Instead of barring the whole thing, you can do the same idea, leaving these top 2 strings open, drop your wrist down, keep these 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers on the same place. Just drop your wrist so that these are open, and those strings are ringing open. And you've got a B suspended. Same thing with the A. If you slide that down 2 frets, you've got an A bar chord here. Okay, but again, drop your wrist down, keep these fingers on, except don't bar it, and leave these strings ringing open and keep those fingers on, and you've got a nice open open A2 chord actually. So the B, the A, to the B, A, B, and then E. Okay? Two more chords I want to show you in the key of E. Sometimes you will have an F sharp minor, which is this. Okay? Barring on the second fret there. So E, F sharp minor. Now instead of playing that, here's another kind of cheat chord, open chord that you can play, which I use all the time. It's this. Okay, so what it is, just imagine that A2 chord that we played before, and put the pinky and your ring finger here, and then just put your middle finger, 6th string, 2nd fret, that's your F sharp there, open, and you kind of mute this A string here. So, here we go. That's like a cheat F sharp minor. E, F sharp minor, and then sometimes you will see an E/G sharp in the key of E, and an easy way to play that is this exact same shape, slide it up 2 frets, again leave these open, and you've got an E/G sharp. Okay, so like this, E, F sharp minor, slide it up to E over G sharp, A, B, E. Okay? Okay, so there we go. There's some nice open chord ideas in the key of G and E. Go and have some fun with that. I hope that helps you out, and see you next time.